Hello and welcome back to the Mega Man 11 80% tutorial series. This time we'll be covering Blast Man stage. This stage is a lot of fun, very straightforward. There's not a whole lot of variation. Certainly you're still hoping for good drops. But this time around, if you happen to get good drops, I'll actually leave that to your own discretion. I'll suggest a couple spots, but I don't need to showcase exactly where you should be spending your extra ammo for impacts. I will definitely be pointing out opportunities that you can use to grab extra ammo, some extra kills that you can make, and some slight room alterations. There's a couple of rooms that'll be slightly harder, slightly easier. I'll explain what makes them work. Before I recorded this episode, Karterfreak told me I should check out Ohonta's strats for a couple of these rooms. Ohonta has the best time on Steam for this stage, but he uses a couple things you wouldn't normally have in this route. Apart from that, there was also an improvement to the Blast Man fight that was found. So the original Blast Man fight that I used to go for, the one that I was most comfortable with, that one's, I would say I'm really consistent with it. But then Carter also had this really optimal kill that was like basically impossible. Degum, who tasked a couple of the stages, he actually tasked that kill, and he found a way to make it a little bit more RTA viable. But then earlier today, Fastatcc posted someone's post from Twitter, Agwawa. Agwawa. Sorry if I can't pronounce that. I will provide a link to his Twitter post, and I'll actually be showcasing that kill as well. So I gave that kill a try today. I actually got it a couple times. It doesn't feel too bad. It's different. I would definitely be recommending it, but I'll also be showcasing the one that's currently being used so that you can make that choice yourself. Now, if you're familiar with the expression hold that L, I'm going to have to hold that loss in just a moment, because I was on a really clean stage. This was actually going to be a really strong best for me. But then I messed up the kill. But I did leave this in here so that you can see if you do mess up the kill, then you can very easily finish the fight after he activates his power gear. That blue buster actually hit him while he was invincible, so this didn't kill him. So then I just switched to power gear, and the red buster finishes him off. So right at the beginning of the stage, we have a fire server, and these guys aren't really difficult to get through. They actually have a very low amount of HP. But the difficulty at the beginning of the stage is once you fire your way through them, you need to switch to torch and turn on power gear. Jump and fire a powered torch as soon as you can. This powered torch will fire at such an angle thanks to that jump that it not only takes out this shimobi, but it also hits both of these exploding bricks at the same time. And because it hits the shimobi up higher, it means that its explosion will not catch you and you're allowed to slide underneath it without taking damage. Next room, kind of a long room, very simple. Should be focusing on optimizing your ground sliding throughout the room. A couple bullets with this fire server on the way down and on the way up. Slide through, and then as soon as you land, fire another bullet to catch the shimobi. And then at some point at the end of the room, make sure you switch to torch. You'll be needing it in the next room. I like to turn on my power gear as I hit the transition, fire it, switch to impact, full jump, and then I can actually stay on the left side. In this next room is Ohonta's strat, and instead of using a regular pile driver and then a powered pile driver, jump and cut it off short with a regular pile driver, and this is so that you can pick up a potential drop from this fire server. If you don't get it, it's not a big time loss, because it actually puts you in a position to instead do this, where you jump and fire a regular torch. That'll set these crates to explode before you even get to them, which means you can spend more time ground sliding. Jump and fire a quick shot at this propeller eye, and then make sure you actually hit the ground before you start sliding. If you don't hit the ground first, then you'll be caught up in the explosion from the second big crate. You'll want to be going as quickly as you can through this section, even if you can't see exactly what's going on. If you take too long, then the TNT underneath the bus will explode, and it'll actually launch you up to the health at the top of the screen, which is a little bit slower. It's a little bit more out of the way. It doesn't cost you much time if you happen to be too slow, but ideally you'll be getting past the bus before it actually gets you up to the top. It's okay if you're underneath it a little bit like I was. And hey, maybe you prefer a more straightforward strat. Here's how you would normally go through this room. Use a normal pile driver followed by a powered pile driver, and then do a couple of slides. Don't want to fire at this propeller eye, same as you did before, but instead you'll be riding on top of the crates before they explode. It just means that you won't be able to get the pickup from the fire server. So in the next room, have a charge shot going. You can do a brief jump, fire away, and that'll knock out the shimobi. Switch to impact and turn on power gear, and make sure that you practice this section so that you don't accidentally burn out your power gear while doing all this. You're doing a deeper jump than you would need to make it to the next platform, because this powered impact is actually going to take out this shimobi. If you cut it short, he's actually going to end up tackling you. Leave your power gear on, switch to torch, do a short hop, fire your powered torch, then switch back to impact, and you'll want to jump a little bit further out this time, again, as you do your powered impact so they don't land on the first fire server by mistake. The powered torch will destroy the second fire server and allow you to pick up some ammo from it if it happens to drop any. Hey look, a free weapon tank. Switch to Tundra and then make sure you have power gear as you touch this gate. The mini boss is incredibly easy. Just hold your rapid fire buster. As soon as power Tundra goes off, turn off power gear, mash slides, and do a regular Tundra over the two. If the door is opening at 43, then you're in good shape. Under the assumption you've gotten no drops, you'll need these two small ammo pickups to continue with the impact strats for the stage. Have torch equipped, use a powered torch as soon as you enter the room, approach the crates and jump. You should be able to get through without taking damage. And I like to start charging my buster at this point, just out of habit for me. You'll be needing that buster in the room after this one, although alternatively you could also use a torch blast. I'd just rather save my torch ammo. As soon as you land on the crates, fire off. Slide, do a couple rapid buster shots. I like to check for drops here. I'll switch to impact. And then as you jump across this gap, make it a big jump and then call rush while you're over the ground. You should be able to land on a rush coil rather than having to land, call rush, jump, and then bounce. A couple more checks for impact ammo. Use a regular Tundra, switch to impact. Same thing in the next room. Switch to Tundra, slide off, fire away, then switch to impact. Now I got a drop here. Now for this room, ideally, as you're sliding across the floor here, you'll call rush under the ladder. Coincidentally, that gives you a good spot to jump from so that you can get around the ladder without having to climb it. In this next room, you'll want to do 2 powered impacts to reach the fire server. You'll actually take them out. From here, as you jump, make sure you're doing your impacts at the peak of your jump, otherwise you'll run into that propeller eye. Powered Tundra will quickly clear out the room. And again, this is another opportunity for you to check for ammo drops for impact. So the way I spent it was by doing a powered impact here, and then I used 2 more impacts later in the stage. For this last section, you'll want to jump and fire a torch at the peak of your jump so that it actually catches the 2 small crates. As you land, you're calling rush, jumping, and then bouncing off of rush, move around the ledge so that you don't bonk your head. Do not get too close too quick, you'll get hit by this explosion. Call rush as you approach after the explosion is slightly cleared, then you can get up top to the next platform. And if you're feeling uncomfortable with a couple of the timings here, you can always switch to speed gear at any moment, but it's not necessary. If you want to beat the fireball from this fire server and do a rush summon on the way up, you'll actually have to move extremely quickly, and I'll show off how Fasta does that in a moment. Again, Fasta as he makes his way through this room, very clean movement from Fasta, always trying to save as many frames. He hurries up and quickly bounces off so that he avoids the fire from the fire server. And while we have Fasta's footage open, we'll actually let this next room play off so you can see an alternative strat for this room. With very optimal ground sliding on the left edge, he actually manages to get underneath this Shimobi before it can hit him. I struggle with doing that, so when I have extra ammo for impact, that's what I'll use it for. I'll just do an impact across this room, and I have 1 extra blip because I got that bigger pickup before, so I use a powered impact in the last hallway. Now we saw before that I didn't exactly get a perfect fight, so this will be actually not only showing the correct way to do the fight, but it'll also be breaking down exactly what you need to do. At the start of the fight, you'll want to hold down power gear, slide, and buster. You'll want to get fairly close to Blast Man and jump as you fire these off. After taking damage, swap over to torch, calmly walk over to the left, jump, and fire away. Make sure you hold this buster button. Turn on power gear, call rush, and be right of center as you jump to avoid these bombs. Fire your power gear at the peak of your coil jump. You should be hitting with both of these shots as the iframes wear off of Blast Man. Leave your power gear on, swap over to torch, slide across the room, and then just before this bomb hits you, fire your last torch shot. Once again at full speed, this is the former last fight. Only half a second slower than the current optimal fight, and I'm still pretty comfortable with it. Slide up double buster, regular torch, coil power gear double buster, slide up power torch. Now before I finish this video, we're going to go over the new kill with Blast Man. In this kill, you start the fight with a powered Tundra. As soon as this happens, call rush and slide forward. You'll want to be about in the center of the screen. Don't be too far forward or you'll get hit by the second bomb. Short hop and fire a double buster immediately so that it doesn't whiff over Blast Man. Briefly disable and then turn back on your power gear, move back to rush, have your double buster fired as soon as it's ready to go. Again, turn it off briefly, turn it back on, and then get your last powered buster shot as soon as you can. Fire from about the middle of the screen and switch to speed gear, and this will allow you to get the kill before he turns his powered gear on. We'll see that one more time at full speed. This is a pretty tough kill, but I do have high hopes for it. I will definitely be practicing this more myself. Again, start the fight. Powered Tundra, call rush slide, double buster, back, double buster as soon as possible, center, double buster, and speed gear. Thanks for watching. See you next time with Blockman.